Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Valorant tips and tricks video. So Valorant just officially released yesterday, and with the brand new update, we received the new agent Reyna. In today's video, we're going to be going over 10 advanced Reyna tips and tricks that will have you using Reyna like the pros. So if you want to know some insane exploits, then be sure to watch through this whole video. I'm just going to say right now, the 8th tip will probably change the way that Reyna could be used. But let's go ahead and jump right into our first tip. So for our first tip, we have using your abilities to survive the spike. Now I would definitely test this tip out in training ground before you try this in a normal game if you're watching this way in the future, because I could really see the devs changing this. This tip will take pretty crazy timing, but Reyna's E ability, Dismiss, allows her to go into an intangible state that makes you immune to taking damage. Due to the fact that the edge of the spike explosion is what deals the damage, you can activate this ability right before the spike detonates and you will be able to survive the explosion. The only tricky part about this tip is that in order to use the Dismiss ability, you have to get a soul orb that can only be gained by killing an enemy. This tip is very situational, but if you get a chance to use it, then it can really help out your KDA. Moving on to our next tip, we'll be sticking with the E ability, and this tip is that whenever you use this ability, you will want to use it to de-aggress, not push in further. One reason why you shouldn't be running into other gunfights with this ability is that there's a delay pulling out your weapon after you end the intangible phase. Instead, this ability is great for picking up one kill and then right before an opponent tries to trade, then you can pop this ability and be immune to all shots for a small period of time. Keep in mind that the downside to this is that you can't heal because the Dismiss ability and the Devour abilities are tied together and only one can be completed with each soul orb. But moving back to the actual tip, if you can use your Dismiss ability correctly, then you will be able to gain advantage on the other team because 1, you will have numbers for the rest of the round, and 2, you can gain info before popping the ability and running back into cover. This tip is essential to learning and really mastering Reyna. Moving on to our third tip, we have a strategy that will help you win way more Spike Rush rounds. If you haven't heard of Spike Rush yet, it's the new Valorant game mode that is currently in beta testing. We will be releasing a whole video teaching you what Spike Rush is, but basically you can find upgrade orbs that you can collect just like ult orbs. These upgrade orbs can automatically give you your ult, make you super fast, or even upgrade your weapon. If you're able to gain these upgrade orbs, you will be able to gain a huge advantage on your opponents and hopefully win more rounds. So for this strategy, you're going to want to use Reyna's Leer ability. You and a teammate should head over to an upgrade orb, and while your teammate is collecting the orb, you should place the Leer in front of them so that if a player peeks the orb, they will be blinded and you can hopefully gain the pick. I have personally used this so many times in my games and it really does help. I'm able to gain my ultimate so much, and if you didn't already know, Reyna's ult is pretty insane. Our next tip actually explains just how crazy the ult can get. So one of the most powerful abilities that Reyna has is her ultimate, and you might say that this is the case with every agent, but you won't really know what I'm talking about unless you see this ult in action or give it a try yourself. So Reyna's ultimate still requires the player to get kills in order to activate her abilities, but she gains a combat boost similar to Brimstone, and once Reyna does pick up a kill, she automatically starts to heal. She can then decide to use her Dismiss ability in order to go completely invisible. Yeah, you heard me there. Completely invisible. Many people don't know this, and it can help many players get into unexpected positions and pick up some extra frags. Now, I feel like whenever beginner players choose Reyna, they think that they need to play super aggressive and just peek every angle carelessly just because she's a duelist. Many of them don't know that Reyna's Leer ability can actually go through walls. So if they wanted to peek a certain angle, they could throw the Leer ability through the wall and blind whichever player is holding that angle. If you find yourself dying from over peeking with Reyna, this might be a good trick to try to implement into your game. The sixth tip for this video goes along with that last one, and it's that you can use the minimap to see where your Leer ability will land. This will help you a lot because this means that you don't have to peek out into the open to make sure that the Leer ability is placed in the correct position. This will also help you not die as much because just like I said, there was a delay pulling out your weapon after the intangible phase of Reyna's dismiss ability, the same goes for her Leer ability. So try to use this tip and the 5th tip as much as possible to not die so often while playing Reyna in Valorant. Moving on to our next tip, we have a tip that could really help some of those players looking to main agents other than Reyna. Whenever Reyna casts her Leer ability and you get blinded by it, you don't have to just take the blind. You're able to shoot and destroy the ability. Knowing this, if you are playing Reyna, try not to put your Leer ability right at head level. If you do this, then it can be so easy for another player to destroy the Leer ability and then just move their crosshair left or right to secure the kill. If you don't put the Leer ability at head level, they will have to adjust their crosshair both vertically and horizontally, and this should give you enough extra time to secure the kill. A mini tip inside this tip is don't stand right next to the Leer ability, because if you line up with the ability, then someone could be trying to shoot the ability and end up hitting you. I kinda had to learn this the hard way in a few of my matches. So like I said earlier, the 8th tip in this video will change the way that some people play Reyna. In Valorant, every agent has their own unique job. For example, Sova is in charge of gaining intel. Reyna's job is to secure kills and frag out. But one agent has the ability to really slow down Reyna, and that's Sage. Sage's job in Valorant is to heal the other players and slow down the opposing team from pushing onto site. This allows her teammates to rotate. Normally, Sage will try to use her slow orb to help her pick up kills as well. There isn't really a way to go fast through these slow orbs anymore because they patched out bunny hopping through AoE abilities. So now Sage just throws down that slow orb and either holds the angle with a tight crosshair or forgets about players completely because she shouldn't really have to be checking that angle anymore. Well, our 8th tip is actually a way to get through this slow orb fast. This tip will be revolving around Reyna's dismiss ability where she can go intangible. Since she is intangible, that means that she can't get shot at and no abilities can affect her. This means you can just run through the slow orb and not feel any of its effects. This will hopefully lead to more kills due to Sage not expecting players to just be able to run through her slow. The next tip is for the players just starting to learn how to use Reyna, and it's that right after you secure a kill, you have a limited time to use the Q or E ability if you purchase enough of the abilities. Yes, you still have to buy these abilities, but you don't use them unless you pick up a kill. Even though you have a limited amount of time to choose, this doesn't mean you have to do it right away. You can back up into cover and then re-peek to grab the soul orb, making sure no one can just spray you down while you're still thinking about which ability to choose. If you do decide that you want to use your Devour ability, make sure that no objects are in the way of the line from you to the soul orb, because if this line can't go directly to you, then the healing will stop and you don't gain anything from your ability. Moving right into our final tip, it's that Reyna's ultimate is on a timer just like Phoenix's. This timer can be seen at the bottom right of your screen and it will reset after every kill that you get. So keep in mind that in order to make this ultimate worthwhile, you need to keep getting kills with it or it's gonna go away. This ultimate gives you insane advantages, so I don't see why you don't want to keep it as long as possible. With that said, those were our 10 advanced Reyna tips and tricks. Hopefully this video did help all of you out, and if it did, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Valorant content. We're uploading daily at 12 PM Eastern Standard Time, so turn on those notifications so that you never miss an upload. That wraps it up for this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.